Hello, everybody. It's Probably Red. We're back with another episode of Notorious, the solo RPG. All right. So we're jumping right back into another exploration here. Let's go ahead and roll. Yeah. All right, we got a 5. Let's see where we're off to now. If you were here last time, we've been in between the Tech Gala outpost, on a pontoon. We were fighting guards at the whatchamacallit, the gate station, Holder Gate Station. So now we're yeah, but they one of the Holder members who was working on the guard ship told them, like, hey, why are you just messing with this guy? It was the same guard that beat us up earlier. Basically they were trying to patrol. We looked sketchy, and but they said, hey, that's one of the people we hired to try to find Arcturus. Okay, so 5. Our notoriety is 3 or higher. In fact, our notoriety is 5 out of 6. So we encounter a lead. Let's go ahead and do that. We're getting right into it. Okay. Roll for showdown. Roll once on each of these site and setting tables. Okay. Wait. Yeah, it's a lead. Okay. So note that we were just kind of, we're drifting on between those two areas. We'll have to figure out exactly where this is. We rolled 2. You meet on a precarious bridge or a platform high above a canyon or a river. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this going. I think this is episode 6. You'll know because it'll be titled as such. But yeah, it depends on like how we split the episode and all that kind of thing. But yeah, so yeah, we'll go ahead and do that so it's easy to find later. Should have been doing this from the beginning, just having these subheadings, because it makes it very easy to keep organized. We can just go to whatever episode to see what happened last time, that sort of thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, and we found out Jersemi is the name of the other heat seeker bounty hunter. And we caught a super flying bluefish, a giant super flying bluefish, in fact, with a 15-foot wingspan. Fed the whole pontoon and then some. Even fed some of the guards and Order of the Holder. So fun. All right, let's get on to it, though. Okay, so some kind of precarious bridge, platform, high above a canyon or a river. Okay, so how do we get this lead? All right, so it's going to be up somewhere high above. And it can be like looking down on all these, like looking down on the mangrove flows and swamps and like swampy rivers, that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we got to figure out like how we encountered this lead. So we were doing some thinking. Maybe even we, just struck up a conversation. And okay. So maybe just casually, let's write a couple possibilities. So how did we find this lead? One, maybe Jersemi said they have a lead, or mentions casually that a lead didn't go anywhere for them. And you mention Mr. Silversand. Gersemi says no. It was a go D8 1. So the most common species would be, okay, so it was an Eladoco. Let's say they were, so what could that be? It could be Eladoco, Order of the Holder. It could be like a smuggler. It could be like a I don't know, a ship seller. What do you call it? A car dealer? A spaceship dealer. They could have been, you know, a henchman or a sketchy person that was said to be working with Arcturus. And then, of course, that's one possibility. Okay, so what about 2? So 2 would be like the same as mentioned, but not directly from Gersemi. Instead, it is from the pontoon owner, and let's roll real quick. 1, 2, 3. The owner is piloting it or whatever. And then 4, 5, 6. They have a separate captain they've hired. Okay, so the owner is the captain. So yeah. Or another guest. Maybe bartender. But yeah, it's got to be somebody who's talked to Gersemi. So it's more likely this will be like 1, 2, 3. This will be 4, and this will be 5, 6. Let's do that. If we even get this option. All right. So how else could we have found this lead? That's a good question. Okay, maybe the hermit, Avinian outcast, from the order calls us up. Maybe we see a boat, and it has a sigil. We recognize from 2 previous places. And I'm thinking like maybe it could be Mr. Silver Sands ship / umbrella, or even it could be the I think it's what's her name? Renerva's maybe somewhere in Renerva's house. Maybe the bikers. I don't know. We'll roll on that if we get that one. I think that's enough options. We're going to roll a D8 to see which major category. We're trying to figure out how we found this lead, essentially. Okay, so we rolled a 5, so it's 1, 2. Let's go like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we get notified by the Avinian outcast Renerva. Okay, so yeah. Renerva contacts us. So maybe she got the number because maybe her monitor came by and she said, "Hey, I actually have something that could be useful. How do I contact Tuatara?" Maybe they've known each other for a while, and the handler was like, "Yeah, sure, I can get you the info. No problem, Nerva." Sorry, it's a loud drink. Anyways, so next, let's go ahead and get to the next step here. So we know that, you know, and that's kind of what Renerva says. She mentions, yeah, so I talked to my handler, got the number. Why don't you come by? And I'm kind of like, I'd love to come by. I got to see if I can get one of these boats. So let me check the talk action. So yeah, and she says, just come by whenever you can. I got something for you, and try to make it snappy. She's like, not that I'm going anywhere today, but it's just it would be nice if you got here fast because I think this is important. All right, so let's roll half our favor. So that's gonna be rounded up. So 1.5. So that's 2. So we rolled a 6. This is great. We're not speaking to a lead or a target yet. She's not the lead we're looking for. Anyways, why did I roll this dice? Oh, challenge dice. Okay, so we're gonna roll. We're talking to the boat owner, and we're like, hey, and they're still riding high. They're still eating fish. You know, everybody's chatting like, oh my God, that was amazing. Everybody's in a pretty good mood. So we're going to give the challenge die a -1, which technically means that there's no way that this is going to, we can't fail because we just rolled a 6 plus 2. That's 8. We rolled a 6 on the other dice, though, so that's a 5. So we could imagine that kind of number combination, So we asked the owner, the pontoon owner, and he's like, we both rolled 6s. Like, I'm very convincing. I'm like, I come up, I'm casually like, oh, hey, is everybody enjoying the fish and stuff? That was one heck of a hunt, wasn't it? Like, oh, man, I've never seen anything like that in my life. There were so many of those monstrous fish. And he's just like, oh, man, it was amazing. I did not even imagine something like that would happen. I had heard the stories, but I had never seen anything in all my days. And I've been to a lot of different places. And then I kind of mentioned like, hey, I've had a blast. I mean, thank y'all for inviting me aboard and, allowing me to stay. I really need to borrow one of those boats and I can pay. And he kind of sighs and scratches his, Urgle. He's got kind of a scaly beard with the little spikes. He scratches his beard and, his eyes kind of change real quick. And he says, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem at all. Yeah, and don't even worry about paying. I mean, you've done more than enough. And just make sure you get it back to us within, a couple of days. So we need to return the pontoon dinghy to, I don't know, Mr. Pontoon Boat. We got to figure out this guy's name. Give me 1 second. We'll call him Salamis. There we go. And usually, so if you want to know how I kind of come up with these names, well, I still don't have my naming list. I kind of just, look up different like historical Greek events, that kind of thing, because I think Greek names tend to be pretty cool. Um, or Roman or Viking and all this kind of stuff, mythology, those kind of names. And I use that to like have something related. So in this case, I looked up the trireme because I was looking up like ancient boats and stuff. And one of the battles was the Battle of Salamis, where, anyways, we're not getting into that. This isn't a history lesson, but that's kind of how I come up with names, because I like the names to have like something interesting to them. But anyways, it's the name of an island, a Greek island. And I guess it's also where salami was named after, probably. Anyways, more information needed on that. Anyway, so yeah, that's the guy's name. His name is Salamis, just in case he comes up later. And it's good to name your characters. So we just have we need to return the dinghy to Mr. Pontoon Boat Salamis within 2 days. Within 2 days, hooray. Okay. So now we know where we need to go. We head over there. We know where it's at, and it doesn't take us that long. No trouble along the way. And we arrive. And when we get there, she's actually standing out there, like watching us approach. And when we get there, she's kind of hurriedly saying like, hey, this isn't the time to chat. This is serious. And she tells us, I think that you might just miss, or like just have missed, Arcturus. But I think I know somebody who was meeting with him. And let's see. Let's think of some possibilities of who it could be. Okay, yeah. Let's do this. Let's see. Who could she suspect? And like, how did she come by this information? Yeah, because we kind of had that as... Yeah, so she calls us up. And maybe she's been thinking about it more. And like something about her situation, or something new that she's thought of. Maybe she's gone through her notes of like, or maybe her journal or something, and things that's happened to her, that, or people she knows that might have more information. And she says, they're the same person who kind of pointed me to the section of the library where I found out the secrets that ended up getting me outcast. I know for a fact that they had contact with Arcturus. So if you could find them, then you could probably find Arcturus. So this is our lead. And she's kind of made a call. And for whatever reason, this librarian agreed to meet her. But they wanted to do it in this secret location, or somewhere where there wouldn't be anybody, so they could talk. So similar to how we just met up, she's made this false meeting with the librarian, or librarian's assistant. So like, it's a librarian's assistant. Yeah. And it's actually like in the Holder City. And the library is towards the top floor. Like, it's pretty high security. You got to go through a bunch of stuff to get there. So getting there is going to be pretty tough. But I've got my jet boots, which, despite some pretty rough treatment, Let's see if they're still functional. I'd say on a 7 or an 8 on an 8-sided dice, they're still functional. Come on. It was cocked. Okay, so they are not functional anymore. Also, real quick. So in the fight against Mr. Silversand, my coat did get damaged. Sorry, not my coat. My duster. But maybe it wasn't like beyond repair. So I also actually lost it after losing it in the water on the fight. But it was still damaged. So just to clarify that real quick. Retcon, or clarify the lack of a retcon. Moving on. So we'll get, she gives us like she actually tells us, I can't write this down because my handwriting will give me away. And if you don't succeed, I don't want this to, mess with my situation. But she instructs, and we're kind of away from the door. So like whatever monitoring, she's kind of figured out that it's not. She's actually stepped onto the pontoon dinghy at this point. And she's whispering and stuff. And she's like, just write down everything I say. And she gives us this list of like sections to go, turns to make. We kind of make a quick map. There's like 20 something different twists and turns. And she says, you got to get there like in the next 30 minutes. So we already kind of, and she says, I can give you this. And she is somehow snuck from her. Let's see if she kept it, or if it's from her handler, or if she's kind of like built a device. So 1, 2, it's for like she got it. Oh, actually, let's do a D8. So she stole it. From her handler. She received it from her handler. She kept it all this time. Maybe she purchased one for emergencies. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about a code, or like a key, like a key device. Or perhaps she tinkered a busted key. And we'll re-roll on a 6. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so she kind of bought a smuggled one. Yeah. So we take it from her and we follow her instructions. And it's actually pretty smooth. We do encounter a couple of guards, and we nod and say, yeah, we're working on that mission. The mission that we've been assigned to find Arcturus, and we think we have a lead. We can't really talk about it yet though, because it's still under investigation, that sort of thing. And they shrug, and they let us by, but we're still like going through zones we probably aren't normally allowed to, and doing twists and turns and avoiding guards. And the farther we get up this platform station, the more intense it gets. And so what is this platform station? It's, from what we're experiencing, it's just like these halls, stairways. We're avoiding the elevators. We want to go full manual on this. So it's probably like 15 stories tall. And you'd think it'd be like on top of limestone so it would sink, but apparently the ground here that they built it on, it's sturdy, or it's just so wide that there's not room for it to sink. Or maybe it has sunk and we just can't tell. I don't know. Because there's so much of it still above the water. So we make our way to the last seal, and we start having to use the key for these last few doors. And we burst onto this thing. We're overlooking all of these, and it's like really weird. It's there's a lot for being this metal structure. There's a lot of like beautiful artwork and like little shrines, and there's a lot of wooden like substructures and furniture throughout that kind of give it like a living feel. There's plants potted. It's very alive for being this massive metal structure. It seems like that's what they're going for. The paintings are of nature. And when we burst onto this like kind of balcony area, there's still plenty of floors above us. But we see this cloaked figure, and they're kind of turned around enjoying. It's pretty hot out here actually, but they're kind of cloaked up and looking out. It's very picturesque, despite the glare. And we've got, by now our pistols are recharged, and we kind of pull a pistol out and say, hey, it isn't Minerva. Just turn around slowly. Don't try anything funny. So that's going to be our threaten. Let's see if we can even use a threaten technically on a lead. No. So it'll be speak. Let's go. Okay, so we messed up. Let's go to lead and see where it leads us next. We rolled the 2. No. No, it's not. Did we accidentally... Is this only for targets? Okay, lead or target. Okay. So we've met. And I guess, yeah, let's see what kind of setting it is. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there isn't any glare. 5. Oh. Okay, so a large machine awakens, resuming its duties, but constantly getting in the way. Okay, so this whole platform with its rails and stuff starts churning, starts spinning. It's somehow powering or functioning with this portal duty. So it's kind of like knocking us over with it, with the force of its sudden starting and stopping. And we're kind of holding on, and I almost dropped my gun. On a 1, I dropped my gun down below. One of them. Holy crap. So my laser pistol drops down to the next balcony. Why did I say that? All right, I rolled a 1. Okay, so I quickly fumble for my other laser pistol, really hold on to it tight. So I am down to 1 laser pistol. Okay. So we know that showdowns around. Is this a showdown? Okay. Okay, so this is pretty tense. We just dropped our gun. So they're probably thinking a little bit less of us. We're not doing a threaten, though, because we can't do that to a lead. So I say, I kind of try to take some of the heat off of Minerva here. I say, I overheard y'all's conversation. Minerva's not coming. She's a bit held up right now. And the librarian, whose name is Dodus. His name's well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, it's a guy. 4, 5, 6, it's a girl. Okay, it's a guy. So he so Dodus. So Dodus, they turn around, they say, oh, so you must be a merc or a bounty hunter, huh? You looking for Arcturus, are you? Did Did Minerva betray me, or is she alive, or what exactly happened? And I say, enough about that. It's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to talk about, like you said, Arcturus. I need to know where I can find him. We gotta take him in, alive if possible. Anything you could help with would be greatly appreciated. And this conversation could just have never happened. So let's see. Half our favor, still +2. We rolled a 3. Oh, we're talking to the lead. So we succeeded. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we rolled a 1. Our targets... Okay, so the target's actions were driven by revenge. Okay. They tell us that Arcturus followed the path of the dark arts because they sought revenge. Okay, so that could have been like they felt betrayed by their mentor. They felt that the order didn't believe in them. Maybe let's see. They needed more power to seek revenge on an enemy from their past or a new enemy. It could have been, I mean, this is all, these sounding like it's pretty intense dude we're hunting after. Maybe they feared another would take revenge on them. Maybe they were restricted from learning and decided to take revenge by learning on their own. I don't know. So let's roll. Let's see what they got. Okay, so yeah. So they felt maybe betrayed in a way by the order because of how restrictive it was. They said, why is this even here if I'm restricted from learning it? And maybe it's just in case like something happened, they needed to know their enemy or whatever. But Arcturus found like if we have this tool, why can't we use it? To be more effective, to do what we have to do. And so he said, well, I'm just going to, instead of being restricted, I'm just going to learn all of it. And did so in a way that, it went under the radar, and then they learned a lot very quickly. Yeah. So we have the information we need. And by the way, like, now we know why they did this. So how does that clue us into where they're going to be? Who would have restricted Arcturus from learning? It would probably have... So this was the librarian's assistant. So I think we should check. And we're not going to be able to get in there without the library assistant's assistance. But maybe they're going after the librarian. And maybe that's why they were trying to talk to Minerva. Because they didn't want their, the librarian to get taken out. the assistant's like, hey, Minerva, like, I think that Arcturus is coming back for the librarian for not allowing them to, you know, check out these books and learn how to use these arts. And they dabbled and learned on their with their own methods or something, from what we could tell by the conversation. All right. So now what do we do? Okay, so that was, we still have, you know, our destination event. So we created our, yeah, right? Did we? Oh, we got to, forgot to, so we rolled for the showdown. We established the location. Okay, roll on species, personality, and okay, then we haven't rolled on this. Well, that was kind of our preliminary conversation. Let's see. Let's roll on species. 1. Oh, actually, we're supposed to roll a d12. So we'll keep those there. 1 and 3. And then we'll roll a d12 on species. Okay, we'll see what kind of parallels we can draw. Okay. Guess I could have followed the link here. So 11, they are bear-like. Oh, okay. So that works out pretty interestingly. They are a bear folk. Where in the world? Oh, man, don't tell me I lost the pencil. 1 second. Technical difficulties. Okay. Okay, I guess I was looking for my pencil right here. So they're a bear folk. And then I rolled a 1 and a 3 for personality. So 1, 3. Oh, they're arrogant as well. We already had an arrogant personality. Let's roll again. Let's keep it a little varietous. We'll go wood as first. So 2. Oh, I guess 1, 3 would have been cocky. But anyways, so they're tense. Yeah, so they're okay. Then let's see what we get on this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we rolled a 5. So what item? Well, since we already answered this one for one of the characters, let's do. What do they worry is going to go wrong again? Okay, and they're tense. Okay, so tense. So maybe what's going to go wrong? They so first of all, their boss, the librarian, got hurt. That's what they're mainly worried about. But secure the restrictions and, security in the library ramped up. So it's just a whole situation. But with the ongoing, and this is a unique gap in that, they're actually the Acrophians. So there's the Acrophian inspection. Has taken down security. And this clued in Dotus that there could be an attack on the library. So they got a bad feeling about this. Yeah. So now that we have that in mind, let's go ahead and roll on the lead. See what exactly is going on here. Oh. Well, this is a heck of a twist. So we know that they're this librarian's assistant, but we teamed up with them for a lucrative job, but they betrayed us. Maybe. So we could take out the word you, and this could actually be they worked with Minerva to, get access to these secrets, which Minerva was blamed for Arcturus obtaining instead of Dodus. All right, so it wasn't us that got betrayed. It's sort of Minerva got thrown under the bus, and that's kind of why Dodus feels like they owed Minerva this info. Okay, so how did they betray? We figured that out. And I guess it would be related to Minerva's scar. We kind of already talked to him. And let's say instead of they attack us in melee, Minerva has followed us. And I guess they have well, let's make a couple options. Let's make a couple options up here. So and they've revealed all this. That things that Minerva suspected but never heard. Minerva followed us and overheard. And she attacks with the holder power. Her power diluter bracelet broken beside her. Okay. How about, Arcturus or a minion of theirs, of bears, because it's the bear folk. Okay, sorry, I'm not gonna. Attacks from hiding. We'll see how that goes. Another possibility, we are attacked by that same guard, this Elidoko guard who keeps causing trouble for us, who knew we were up to something and decides we can't be allowed such a loose leash. Okay, let's go with those three. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it's 4, 5. So now let's roll. Let's say if it's a 1 or a 2, it's Arcturus, and then if it's 4, 5, 6, or 7, we'll figure out what kind of minion it is. Ooh, it's a 1. Whoo! Okay, here we go. This will be interesting. So, okay. So how does... I can't spell leash. Okay. So how does Arcturus appear? I would say they are in a, not a sky ship, not a spaceship. Maybe they are on Mr. Silver's ship and they haven't left yet. So let's say if we get there, why haven't they left? Oh, the library. Yeah, they still need that information. Okay. They don't want to leave without the secrets. That's an interesting option. So those two flying options. They jump down from a balcony above us. They crawl from below. They burst out of the door we walked out of, demanding Dotus's library key. They were hiding behind a crate or something. Can brainstorm that. We roll that. All right, let's go with the green lettering with the Gothic. Oh, okay. So they were hiding behind a crate. Let's name some objects, or some other object. Okay, so it could have been we should be highlighting these so we remember what we got really quickly. So it could be like a shelf, a crate, a sub building. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there it was a crate. Yeah. Okay. So they stand up. They've got this. Let's go 1 second. Okay. So they're kind of, slow to react and reserved. We can't really tell how they feel. And they have this beautiful silvery white coat. And by the way, it's pretty windy up here, which is nice because it's so warm. But the wind is making their silvery coat flap. And we're pretty cold. Like, we're not cold, but we're feeling pretty nice. We don't have our duster, so, kind of not looking as sharp. And that coat's actually looking pretty cool. The collar's up. Has these sharp angles. They got this blonde mega pompadour. Sort of like, kind of like Johnny Bravo. Maybe if you've seen the gentleman who's got like the cannon hair from Fifth Element, like the hair's like pointed like a cannon, kind of that very wild style. And they're just leaning into it, and they're also like a bear folk, so big claws, and they're kind of scratching their chin, kind of looking like they burst up above, and they're kind of like trying to like look, kind of casually, but like in a cool way. And they say, "This doesn't have to get too nasty. Just give me the key to the library, and I'll be on my way and off this wretched planet." And I've got my other gun, and I start to turn, and I feel something like almost like a bear's claw in my mind, and it's like I can feel the sharp claws cutting into my brain, and I almost drop my gun. And then right next to me, Dotus is pulled like forward by something unseen. They stumble forward, and they're already pulling the key out of their coat, and they drop it on the floor. And Arcturus walks up and stomps on the key, not like breaking it, but securing it, and then still like holding out a claw towards me. And it feels like the claws are digging in deeper, and almost like blood is starting to like fill my skull. And crushing pain just bursting through it, but I'm holding on to my gun and trying to lift it up. And Arcturus bends down quickly, grabs the key, and is through the door that we came through. And just like that, they're gone. And then I still feel like the wound in my head where like 3 of the claws were just dug in and just quickly shink removed as Arcturus walked away. And blood is just pouring down my cheeks, out of my ears, and from my nose. And I shudder because it's such a powerless feeling. Okay, so let's resolve how that attack went. And it's melee, but at a range. So I was going to use my pistol. I would say we just lost that by default. We lost that attack. So let's kind of see what our consequences of failure are. Okay, so we didn't die, but we were badly beaten up. So we're injured, and I'm going to say since last time we got -1 heart, we're going to get -1. Actually, we'll take the dropping of the first gun as our penalty because we got -2 star for that, okay? That's what we're going to say, okay? And it still works with the narrative thing. And maybe they kind of stop short of like messing with us enough to permanently destroy our aim until we got rest, destroy our aim. Okay. Let's see what happens next. Let's go with another exploration roll. Okay. There's no sign of our target, but something interrupts our hunt. Okay. So, let's roll on the exploration event table to see what happens next. First, which of the 3 subtables? Okay, perfect. Table 1, 2. All right. And we rolled a 3. Okay. The journey is long and we succumb to exhaustion. We wake up being dragged behind someone riding a vehicle or a beast. Okay. So how could we interpret this? I would say after the events that we just went through, we would say maybe we fainted from blood loss. Maybe we fainted from blood loss. And okay, so we have to note that I think we already noted this, but we lost a pistol. And we'll put a little star here. We lost a pistol, but so maybe we passed out and Dota like caught us before we hit the floor. And they took us to like some emergency hospital. So this journey is long. We succumbed to exhaustion already, so we passed out from blood loss. And when we kind of come to, we're like in the hospital. We can kind of see the lights above us, like fading in and out. And there's this medical wing where we're being dragged on a gurney, and that's the vehicle. Okay, let's see. So we rolled a 4. They're hostile. So we're tied down. And we kind of don't know what's happening, but we look around and there's these guards. And all we know is the guards yelling at us and saying, like, we're putting him into the detention center as soon as you get his vitals. So I kind of try to, like, quickly digest what's happening. And I'm very, like, have a huge headache. from, you know, all the pain. And I roll over, and like I find that like I am like my hand is bound to the actual gurney. So that's a problem. Let me see if if I can, like, if Tuatara can break this handcuff. I mean, we don't have any tools. Maybe, I mean, I'm gonna say, like, it's very unlikely to be able to break out of it. But okay. Get some options here. So, do we think of ourselves? Okay, obviously we're kind of like a pistolier, gritty kind of. You know, we're the cowboy sort of mercenary. You know, we're loud, we're outspoken. Um, they've taken our weapons, most likely. Yeah. Um, but maybe we can, like, before we completely wake up. Here we go. We see a holstered weapon on the yelling guard. We make a move to snatch it and blast our binding cuff. I'm trying to think of a cool name for cool name for our, like, space cuffs. But we'll go with binding cuff for now. You know, it's a handcuff. It probably doesn't look like a handcuff that, you know, we'd think of, but yeah. So let's see. It's basically an attack against the guard, because we're taking their weapon. Let's do that. All right, so they have +1. We have no weapons, so we have +0. So there's theirs, and there's ours. Okay, so they got a 2, and we rolled a natural 4. So we do make it. We quickly, even though fighting through the blood loss and the headache, snatch the pistol off this Elidoko guard, who is, you know, of course it's the Elidoko guard that's always given us heck throughout this particular one. We haven't named this guy, but anyways, we snatched the weapon off of their out of their holster, and let's say it's like some type of, like, sharp, I don't know, maybe it's like a baton, okay? And we use it to kind of, like, in one quick jerking motion, bust the metal cuffs. And then we roll backwards out of these things, throw the blanket up in the air so it's kind of like a quick distraction. And we're barreling down the hallway at top speed before they know what hit them. And within reason, we're pulling stuff into the way as they chase us. Like, we're not, like, knocking over patients, but, you know, we're pulling, you know, different medical monitors and stuff just into the path. Knocking over cleaning supplies, that sort of thing. And we duck behind a corner. We have no idea where we're at. They didn't take our pocket watch. It's actually in, we're wearing a medical gown, and we kind of tie that as we're going down the hallway, tie it in the back, and there's a little pocket, and they've put our pocket watch in there. Very kind of them. And we kind of check, and we ask it, like, hey, how do we get out of here? And let's see if it can figure out where it is. On a 7 or 8, it does. Okay, we rolled a 2. It has no idea. It's like bloop. You didn't say to track your locations. We don't have a record of that. And I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to follow the signs. And they're written in another language. Like I speak the language of the Urgle, but I kind of know a little bit of like, I mean, I speak Imperial, and it's written in like native Elidoko, but it's got like some of the big signs are written like with subtext in the Empire's like, basic language sort of thing, Imperial, the Imperial tongue. I don't know. So I kind of have a idea where I'm going. Let's. Oh, we don't have any motivation points. Let's roll. Let's say on a 4, 5, or 6, I find the exit and I kind of know where I'm at. We rolled a 3, so we almost make it. And we can hear them pretty close behind us. We're turning corner and we reach a dead end. And we look left and look right and we dive into a closet. And let's see. Maybe there's a vent. Let's say on a 5 or a 6, there's a vent in this closet. Actually, hold up. There's something in this closet. Let's say like cleaning supplies. So cleaning supplies. A person is just in here. A vent. Another door. So it's like a shared closet between 2 hallways. Yeah, let's roll on that. We'll do D8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that didn't really roll. Okay, so it's cleaning supplies. All right. So we kind of. Oh Lord. So we're stuck in this closet. Man. What would we do? I'm just gonna grab a broom and pry it to buy some time. And let's see if they even turn into this closet, because they probably know this is a dead-end closet. They might not even check in here. Let's say on a 6, we don't hear anything. We rolled a 3. Okay. So we hear banging on the door. Boom, 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 boom. And we're like, we're completely silent, actually. We don't come up with a witty remark. We're just like, no noise. We kind of try to quietly hide behind the mop bucket. And then the door bursts open and... Okay, I paused it for suspense. It's Renerva. Whoa, what is she doing here? She kicks open the door with her clawed foot and says, "Hurry, come with me." And so we're like kind of stunned. The broom breaks and splinters kind of fly past us. We're like, holy crap. So we Renerva takes us by a clawed wing and pulls us out of the closet, and we're running, and we can hear a guard shuffling down different hallways. And then there's a staircase that she kind of dives down, and she's like half flying, half running, so that like even though we're jumping down flights of stairs, it feels like we're just taking a soft step. And then you can hear like the sound of my rubber boots, broken hover boots, but with rubber soles, which doesn't sound like a great engineering decision. No wonder they're broken. And we fly down like 6 different flights of stairs, then out this side door. We're out of the hospital section of this. And then I'm kind of recognizing what path we're on. And she leads us outside. She says, "Where's the pass?" And I quickly like shuffle around and say, "They've taken it. They've taken it." And she says, "We have to get to a balcony." And we're kind of, I don't know what floor we're on because I've been inside and woke up on in a place I've never been. But we step out onto another balcony and we're still like halfway up this thing, like on the 7th floor. And she's running towards the edge, and I like go to stop, and she says, "Just come on." And then she jumps with my arm in tow, and her wings, spread out, and she glides with me in her, like hooked onto her arm, and we kind of glide straight down to the water. And we land near some random person's boat. And we kind of climb on stealthily before they notice. It's a pretty big boat. And we're kind of hanging on the side, catching our breath on this like metal ladder. Okay, so that is what happened for our exploration event. Yes, we found out where they took us. And I guess that kind of gives us our destination too, but let's see how our destination blends into it. Okay, so where do we end up get taken? So once again, we think it's best. I say now that we know where he is, I think one of our only hopes is going to be to get Ethan in the mercenaries, because this guy, even a 2-on-1 fight, he's just going to be able to reach into our brains and, take us out. Yeah. And then, so we're going to find somebody who knows who our target is. And Ethan knows who our target is because we've told them. Yep. Then we gain 1 favor. And so technically we never lost Ethan as an asset, but we said we did for, the purposes of the narrative. So we have, once again, we still have that now. Now let's roll again and see what happens next. And yes, this is going to be a longer episode because we're going to try to get this, we're going to try to catch this guy. Okay, we rolled a 4. If your notoriety is 4 or greater, you encounter a lead. And then we go to leads. If it's the 3rd time we've countered a lead, it's the target instead. So we have found him. And we kind of know we're in the library, but let's see. Okay. What happens? The most successful nomads are relentless in their pursuit of a target. It's only a matter of time before they track them down and face off to earn their bounty. As soon as your notoriety hits 3 or more, you might be prompted to create a lead when you explore. The 3rd time this happens, create a target instead. Creating the target. To create the target, first roll for a showdown to establish the location where you encounter them in the wilderness. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, so real quick, side roll. Let's roll to see if we threw a tracker. Okay. At as we were kind of being, gripped in the brain. At the cloak or the boot of Arcturus while he was concentrated on making her brain bleed and getting the pass. Or better yet, what if we put the tracker on the, okay, so on a 1, 2, 3 that we put through a tracker onto them. 4, 5, 6 we put the tracker on the pass beforehand, and then 7 or 8 neither of those. Okay, 1, 2, 3 we put it on their boot. So 4, okay, so we put it on the pass. Okay. So we put a tracker on the past. So they might not be in the library. We're about to find out where they're at. And I would say, where is it? Showdown. All right, so we're going to roll an 8-sided dice. If it's 7 or 8, it's in the library. Okay, it was on an 8, but it didn't roll on the table. Ooh, 6. You catch up to them at their starship just as they're preparing to board and leave. So they've got, okay, so we follow the tracker, and they have gone to that same place, that same, that location. We're ducking out. We're kind of riding along with this boat. We'll see, like, and we kind of see that it's going that direction, and then we leap onto another empty boat and kind of procure it for ourselves. Actually, we follow it long enough until we spot the yacht dinghy. We do find that, yeah. So we found the pontoon dinghy, and we headed over and we got Ethan. That's why we're there. Okay. So that's how we got there, is on the dinghy, me and Renerva. And then now Renerva said, hey, I feel like I've done enough saving your butt. I'm going to let you handle this. But Ethan and his mercenaries, they pile on him and his 2, like, best, bros. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6 is female. Okay, so that's 1 male. All right, so it's 3 dudes. Anyways, so all 3 of these mercenaries are dudes. And then let's roll on the species chart. Okay. I think it's going to be another an Elidoko mercenary. See what I got for the chart here real quick. Yep, and then roll again. And then, okay, so that's we rolled the roll again. So let's just do D4, which is basically another D8, but okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so an Elidoko, a gnome, and then Ethan. I guess we can write that on here. Elidoko merc, a gnome merc. That is not how I spelled Ethan. There we go. And let's see if we can actually convince Renerva to join us. We'll use our favor, so it's going to be +2. Yeah, versus a challenge dice. So we rolled a total of 4. Oh, and she rolled a 1. So she's like, yeah, I think I want to see this through. And maybe I can help you, not be taken over like you were last time by his power. And if I get a chance, I might even be able to use his own dark arts against him. Because I actually know more than most holders would about these arts that he's using. And she kind of wants to, make sure that she's, it's going to definitely look good if she actively helped put this, oh yeah, I broke out of the handcuffs, but maybe in a way that they're still kind of intact. And in fact, later on, like on the way there, I've kind of, fiddled with them a little bit. Maybe I got some tools from Ethan or one of his merc friends, and got him off, and I kind of have them just in case. I don't have a key for him, but it might be easier if he doesn't have use for his hands for the what is it called, the is it somatic? The somatic? Yeah, the somatic components of the actual casting of these abilities should weaken his power, so that we don't have to, take him out. He does seem extremely dangerous, though. So, anyways, all that to say, we found them at their starship, and their starship is in the same port at the research station, the Tech Gala research station. And what ship are they about to board and leave? For some reason, probably for medical reasons, after being electrocuted pretty badly, it's Mr. Silversand's ship that we're detecting them at. And they're kind of making some preparations, and he's pushing Mr. Silversand in an enormous wheelchair with the aid of some, a couple of other individuals trying to get him close enough to get on the ship. And he's got a couple of, the wrapping bandages that you put on your head when you get hurt. He's got one of those, but it's like, like 10 yards just of bandaging around his head. Mr. Silversand does. So he's out of commission. But Arcturus is looking as dangerous as ever. Let's see. Okay. And I would say it's high noon, and it is getting dangerously hot. I love this picture here. Beautiful. Yeah, it is getting dangerously warm. I say Arcturus, and Mr. Silversand kind of grabs with some glops of his corrosive, oozing self, and he turns his wheelchair and starts going backwards, backing it up, turns again around these lifted platforms above the water, and he's going backwards. He's headed towards that door. He has had enough, and he's definitely not in any shape to fight. So he's out of commission. And so Arcturus kind of cracks his big old bare neck and pushes his hand to his chin and cracks the other side, and he flows out his big coat and shakes his arms a little bit, gets in mode, he gets ready for battle. And he said, "You're foolish to try again. I didn't even give you a taste of my power. That was barely a flick." Okay. So, once you've confronted the target... Okay, we have to decide their fate. Okay, I guess we're not. We're not out of there. We're not out of the water yet. How do we... Hold up. Showdown. We know where the target is. Okay. Here we go. Then, with the key information already established, all that remains is to roll on the target table and discover who they really are. Okay, we get to hear their side of the story. And then we'll try to defeat them. Okay, we rolled a 6. Bathed in light or shrouded in shadow, they wear robes of the mystic order. So they appear calm despite the situation. Okay, that fits. So what is the order trying to achieve by maintaining a presence here? So we already know that what Arcturus is trying to do is to take the order's secrets, the stuff that they've hidden and kept safe only for, like, if, absolute emergency, they need access to these very, forbidden order of holder arts. And he's trying to take them off world. Okay. So we start trying to... Okay, let's speak to them. See how this goes. Okay, so half of our favor. We rolled a 1, they rolled a 2. So we rolled a 3 to their 2. Do they get any plus? All right. Where's the target? Okay. No, so we what happens then? All right. So do you automatically win leader target? Okay, so we didn't need to roll. I always forget that part. So we're gonna roll a different dice. We roll a 6. Our client lied to you about your target's actions. Okay. What part of your client's accusations are a complete lie or a wild exaggeration? So Arcturus says that these aren't like, why do you think they would keep these in their library unless they're using them? It's not that these aren't like practice. These aren't powers. These are just powers that they only give to, special individuals that they choose. I decided that wasn't right. And I want to share these powers with anyone willing to learn them. So we kind of sigh, and we got all these people here. We're just kind of like, man, we're not on your side. We're here to bring you in. You can explain why you think you're justified in court, but out here, my only objective is to take you down. And he kind of scoffs and says, well, then I can see you're a man of, honor and maybe rash, but you have your beliefs, and it doesn't seem like I'll sway you. So I'll do you a favor, and I'll make this quick. And my mind kind of goes blank completely. And I just feel like I'm in this giant space where everything is like a pale white. And even the platform below me just seems to fall down into nothingness, just absorbed into this open space. And I kind of blink and I'm back in reality for a second. And there's just blasters are firing, mercenaries are throwing out stun grenades and stuff, and there's more white light, but different from what that psychic attack was. Okay. So they have so I guess the glowing weapon was the light that they used to completely blind me. Let's see how that attack went for them. So kind of a, flashback. So I ended up losing -1 star. So my stars, because of, according to the rules, I went from 4 to 1. Also, we need to roll for the mercenary bonus. We'll see how that goes in a second. It's going to be kind of complicated, but we'll get through it. I'm going to say that Renerva actually found our pistol, and that's how she knew stuff wasn't going good. But we're going to take that -1 star to our ranged. And we'll figure out how this is melee in a second. So that's pretty irrelevant, but they have first let's go with the mercenaries fighting them. How do we do that? How do you use an asset? I guess it would be companions. Maybe Allies. We're gonna give me a second here. Okay, I found it. Okay, so this we roll that. Oh, they rolled really well. Okay, so did the opponent. So they rolled both of them rolled natural 6, and so they got this +2. So our mercenary friend Ethan and his 2 allies, they rolled a 7 total versus 8 total. So they're blasting away, and he kind of just like he's walking past them. There's holes in his cloak. You can kind of I look over to Ethan and kind of try to see why he keeps missing, and his eyes are kind of like glazed over, and he's just like firing wildly. And the same thing goes for his gnome and his Elidoko allies there. They're attacking and attacking and attacking, and they just can't seem to like aim. And he's holding Arcturus is holding out his hand and like kind of focusing and making them miss. And then suddenly he's upon us, and he holds out his bear claw to us, and this orb of light that's the same color of strange like white that whole space was opens again. It looks like it's trying to pull us in, absorb our concentration. And I spin around with the stun mace and try to clock him in the head before he can try to do this. So we get +2, and they get +2. Okay, so they rolled an 8, and we rolled a 5 total. So this is where Minerva is she's going to use her power, and she's like, I kind of see like she comes up behind me and puts her claw on my shoulder, and she swipes her wing, and the orb is dissipated, and Arcturus takes a stumble back. We're going to say this is like a motivation, and I am going to re-roll his dice, and he rolled a 1, putting me, and we're going to say this is, now I get the +1, so I rolled a 4, 1 plus a 2, that's a 3, just barely 1, and that's 1 of 3 of their hearts. Whoa. Okay. That's intense. Okay, so they got 1, 2, 3 hearts, down to 2 hearts. All right. Do we have any hearts left? Because I know we lost a heart. No. Okay, so I'm going to say I'm going to do a backflip, and I'm going to try to blast this guy so I can get that +4 bonus. I'm just saying. No, it's a +3, because Minerva returned our pistol to us, but it's all jacked up because it's waterlogged, and it fell like 7 or 15 stories. Somehow, miraculously, it still functions, but it just doesn't shoot like it used to. So I'm going to say I'll get a +3. All right, so +2. And then our +3. Okay, so we got a 6, 7, 8, 9 versus their 5. Boom. And they kind of stumble back when we blast them. One hit kind of hit their gut, and the other one kind of blazed through the fur on the back of their hand, and they're not doing good. And they charge with their claws out, and we get +1. Let's roll for them first. They get +2. Let's say they get +1 on this because they're just got shot. Oh, fell off the table. They got a 5. Oh, I hate that I rolled a 6, but it landed not where, like it landed kind of cocked. I usually would re-roll that. I'm gonna re-roll it. Dang it. Okay. Okay, so the second time I rolled it, it got on the towel again. I got a towel under my computer. It's kind of weird, but it's there just because, like, when I set out my cards, TMI. So we just barely beat this guy. Okay. So he comes in, and now he's got these glowing orbs of light that are just like seem like they're not in reality. And it's kind of, we see the edges, the opaque edges like of our eyes are starting to close in as everything seems to, like, we're starting to see the back of our own eyes bathed in a white light, and it's filling the edges of our vision, making them fuzzy. And at the same time, the two glowing orbs in his claws as he approaches us are growing into like these, non-uniform shapes, like these globs that are growing and oozing and connecting to the edges and starting to rapidly fill in these white voids. And then Renerva kicks with a clawed foot, scratching his bare leg. And he stumbles back, and we take the opportunity that she's opened for us and hit him center mast with a full-blown stun mace strike and knock him down. And I grab him. He's really heavy, big bear guy. And we flip him over, me and Renerva, and I cuff him as best as I can. And Renerva throws something over his head because she says, without sight, it's kind of hard for somebody who isn't very super experienced to be able to direct their holder power. And despite being very powerful because of the forbidden arts, Arcturus is not as experienced as they could be. And Renerva's still kind of concentrating, backing up his attacks. And I go ahead and let's see what the epilogue is. Wow, we barely made it. Thank you to Ethan. Thank you to Renerva. And thank you to Ethan's crew. We wouldn't have made it without all of our buddies here. Oh, that's just amazing. Wow. Okay, so we've confronted the target, and we've decided we're going to let them live. So we're going to determine our epilogue and finish our game, and we're going to multiply our motivation by 2 and add it to our favor. So 0 times 2 is 0, and our favor is 4. So we got a 4. Look up the results on these pages and answer the final question. This chapter is then complete. If you choose to play again with the same nomad, you'll have a new set of starting attributes and some history to build on. That's cool. So we got a 4. Oh, it keeps going. Wow. Okay. So we got better than the lowest score possible. Your actions have caused harm to the population of this planet, either directly or inadvertently. Okay, so I can see how that would be possible now that that information is just known. Also, the fact that we kind of broke out of a hospital in a panic to go and catch this guy before he left. You become a trigger in someone else's story now. I would probably guess Mr. Silversand, if not the Elidoko Guard. Okay. Okay, so now Tuatara has become the trigger in someone else's story. And I'm saying that's probably going to be the unnamed Elidoko Guard. Probably not, but maybe it could be the Mothling bounty hunter. I don't know why it would be. I mean, she was chilling on the barge. We're actually connecting. So I'm going to say that's not going to be the case. And then maybe Mr. Silversand really just had a rough time with it. And I guess technically it could have been Arcturus. I mean, he's been, arrested and stuff. but maybe this a little bit less likely, but maybe the gnome or the Elidoko mercenary, maybe they were aspiring to be part of the Order of the Holder. And they were just had this revealed that these formerly forbidden powers that are considered like never to be used. Or I guess, maybe not us directly, but somehow Renerva, her like for years, a decade almost, she's been banned because of this like forbidden knowledge. And Arcturus has revealed that it's a lie. It's actually, they use the powers, they just don't tell people that they use them. So I would say this would be kind of like obvious. And then I feel like Arcturus is like, yeah, sure, but and the Eldeco Guard, yeah, kind of. But I think the one that makes the most sense is going to be Renerva. Inadvertently. Like, maybe she doesn't hate us, and it's kind of more the trigger would be Arcturus. But, yeah, that's pretty intense. So they're defining memory of our time here. We got a couple of memories there. Okay, so we have to note that. So just a note, our finishing total was 4. So we have 0 notoriety. So next mission would be, just kind of get this recorded for prosperity's sake. 1 favor, 1 motivation. Okay. So, yeah. So the defining memory is probably going to be more of Arcturus, yeah. Spilling the beans on the order, using the arts she was outcast for even finding out about. And none of that would have happened if we didn't come along. So there's that connection there. Now, exactly it being a trigger. Let's see, 1 second. So these are like examples of triggers. Yeah, so that's something like that's gonna change her experiences for sure. We could play as Renerva too in a future run. That would be interesting. Like, what does she do with that knowledge now? It's a bunch of people just heard it. Everybody who was there. So that's definitely gonna change stuff. See how that goes. Wow. So that was incredible. What a conclusion. This game definitely has had some amazing, exciting moments throughout, but the ending, the way the game ends it, it's just peak. Very, very fun. Just blown away by the possibilities of this game. And there's just a lot to it. This game just doesn't stop. It's quite interesting. Yeah, wow. What is this? Oh, we're over here. Yeah, so there's all kinds. Like, this game, that was just one run. And it gave us tons of gameplay. So there's 2 more things we're gonna want to do. Well, like maybe more than that. But so first of all, we could play this again, straight up. That's an option for just like do another run of this. Then I lucked up and got there was a summer sale and they had a bunch of community copies, so I picked up one of those for the expansion Outsiders. So thank you for that. I'm pretty excited about that, so definitely want to try that out. And I think there's rules that kind of go into like the Mystic faction, so that'll help with trying to figure out some rules to run Minerva on. So that's possible, unless we just roll up a new character using kind of the stuff we've built here. Also, I'd like to just do a review of the game, give my thoughts on it, and try to figure out how I'm going to structure that. Make a quick video on, well, I say quick. But like a video on how I felt about the game. And then finally, I'd love to take these notes and kind of compile it into like a more succinct and like basically a summary story, but also just more of like a narrative focused story. Like it's just like the narrative of all of this kind of combined into a more accessible thing. And then like a couple side things also, maybe this is probably not going to happen at this point, but I think it would be cool to have a little mini wiki or some type of database where I'm storing all this information for ease of reference. Because I mean, this is cool. But you know, I could take some time to kind of organize it, but that's kind of not the next thing. Those were roughly in order of what I'm going to do them. So yeah, I mean, there's 20 pages here. I mean, it's definitely a story. I like how the game's structured, but I'll leave a lot of that for the review. I really enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the entire story. Very fun to play. I highly recommend it. But once again, we'll leave all that for the review. Wow. What a great game. Excellent work to Jason Price, and the artwork throughout the whole game, just amazing. Yeah. Torben Bokemeyer. Sorry if I messed that name up there. But yeah, whole thing. All good job to everybody here. But yeah. Oh, it's inspired by Ronin. I've heard of Ronin. That's really cool. And I could definitely see the inspiration from Star Wars. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, really great game. Really great game. Very fun. Thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. Wow. And we were almost reached 2-hour mark. So this is one of those crazy finale episodes where it's twice as long as a regular episode. So I really hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see what we do next. Thank you.